Throughout our nation's relatively short history, there has always been certain figures that have stood out and become idolized in American folklore. These are the Davy Crockett's and Audie Murphys of our history, men who through their sheer will and sacrifice made our country into the land that it is today. Because of this, we honor these individuals by turning them into figures that are larger than life. Statues are made, awards are named, and we do this so much to the point where we actually forget why these people are being honored in the first place. But if you were to look back at some of these men, you would find out that a surprisingly high number don't quite fit into the narrative that we have placed them in. One of these men, I believe, is Nathan Hale. Now, before I really get into why I hold these feelings, you first need to know who Nathan Hale was. Born on June 17, 1755, into a prominent religious family in Coventry, Connecticut, Hale seemed to be the perfect human. He graduated with first honors from Yale University, and then went on to become a schoolteacher, where he was a strong advocate for women's education. I just want everyone to know that I believe Hale was a truly great guy. He just wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, as we're going to find out shortly. Born with a deep love for America, Hale enlisted in the Connecticut militia in 1775 and quickly worked himself up to the rank of captain. He also became a member of Knowlton's Rangers, which was the first organized intelligence service in United States Army history. So when Washington, who was fearing a British invasion from Manhattan, asked for a man to go behind enemy lines and scope things out, even though the consequences of capture would be death, Hale was the only one to volunteer. And on September 12, 1776, he was ferried across Long Island under the disguise of a Dutch schoolteacher looking for work. After engaging in some reconnaissance work, Hale was eventually captured by the British and promptly hung without trial, but not before saying the line he is most known for today, which is, "I regret that I have but one life to give for my country." Since his execution on September 22nd, 1776, Hale has become a symbol of the American identity. He is the Connecticut state hero, has been featured in countless songs and artwork, and even stars in an entire children's book series where he gets eaten by a history book and teaches about important historical events. Nathan Hale has become quite literally an immortal figure, and from the overview of his story, it's easy to see why. He represents the daring and caring love that all Americans should feel for their country, and in the end, he paid the ultimate sacrifice. However, if you look into the tiny details of the story of Nathan Hale, you'll come to a far different conclusion. You'll stumble upon a reckless moron who failed his country in its dire hour of need. So without further ado, let's go into the true tale of Nathan Hale. As you might imagine, the popular story skipped a few important details that are crucial to know when trying to grasp a true knowledge of Hale. So we need to just start from the beginning. As I have said before, the Hale family was widely known throughout all of New England, so everyone clearly knew that the family's loyalties lied with the Patriots, so there was no way that Nathan could have went undercover without being recognized. Then there was the whole Dutch schoolteacher cover. Nathan Hale went under the cover name Nathan Hale, and even went as far to bring his college diploma to validate that he was in fact a schoolteacher. So even if someone did not know who the Hales were, they would probably know that the last name Hale was not Dutch, but strikingly British, which would have immediately caused suspicion. To make matters even worse, though I've seen no records to prove this, I am sure that Hale didn't even change his regional accent into sounding more Dutch, so it's obvious to see how things would go wrong for our idiot hero. Surprisingly, however, at the start of the trip, Hale did not manage to get himself caught, and even collected some intelligence on enemy troop positions before he made the worst mistake possible. He went to New York, and could not have possibly picked a worse time or cover story to enter the city that had recently been taken back by the British. You see, some of those pesky Americans set fire to the city shortly after British occupation, destroying nearly 25% of it. This had the Brits out for blood, and they were looking for anyone who even looked like a patriot, and in total over 200 colonists were brought in for questioning. Hale didn't stand a chance. While out visiting a tavern, Major Robert Rogers, who was a member of a local Loyalist cavalry unit, saw Hale and of course recognized him, and introduced himself as a friend to the Patriot cause. Hale then did the one thing that a spy is forbidden to do under any circumstance. He admitted to being a spy. Roger and his rangers quickly captured Nathan Hale near Fletchings Bay, Queens, and brought him to General William Howe's headquarters for questioning. It was there that sketches of the British position were found in Hale's shoes, which caused the officers to flat out ask him if he was a spy. In this moment, he could have at least tried to save his own skin by lying and saying that he was just feeling artistically inclined or something of the sort, and then after being released, he could have went back to Washington with all the relevant information he had. But as we have all learned, Hale's brain works differently than ours. In an absolutely daring turn of events, he told everyone present, under his own free will mind you, and they didn't even have to beat it out of him, that yes, he was indeed a spy. He was hung the next day. It is my personal belief that the whole "I regret I have one life" speech was made because he realized he really did throw his one life away and failed his country. The story of Nathan Hale is one of the most infuriating tales from history that I have perhaps ever heard. This video was actually supposed to be a part of a much larger one that would have consisted of some of my least favorite historical facts, but I soon realized that I hate nothing worse than Nathan Hale and his story, and decided to just make this video. Though it is infuriating, I believe we can all learn a valuable lesson from the life of Nathan Hale. It is not what we do that gets us remembered, but it is more of how we get remembered that is the true defining force.